So today we're going to talk about data science, and actually over the course of the next 3 days covers data science. Let's see, right here. So data science. What is like data science? Anybody?
Research of data to provide information.
The research of data to provide information. I mean, that's part of it, definitely. So what is a data scientist? You're pretty much right. A scientist who likes to explore and discover patterns and trends in data. And why, like, the whole big hot topic for the past 4 or 5 years is like data science, data science, data science. Everyone's looking for a data scientist. And this is just some stats I took off of Glassdoor about why data science. So like data is everywhere. It's the most valuable asset to companies, obviously other than their employees. And this just shows software engineering salaries compared to data scientist salaries at like largest tech companies like Google, Facebook, Palantir. Software engineers, everyone thinks like software engineers are like the most highly paid, like 10 companies. Data scientists generally make more. And why is that? Because data science requires a bunch of like multidisciplinary skills. A lot of it's computer science. You need to know how to program. There's a lot of statistics that goes along with it, and mathematics. So a lot of data scientists are either statisticians or mathematicians. And also, they have to like wrap all that together, and then how does that affect a business? This is kind of just like the data scientist process. You have to be able to capture the data. You have to manage and clean the data. Do you know how we clean the data? Clean that data from the CSV file was that last week or something like that? Then you actually have to do analysis on that data, find trends, do stuff like that. So like, for example, I mean, that's why like Facebook and Google, like their whole companies revolves around data, like how to target a specific person, like how to charge like so much per click for this specific keyword. Why do they do that? Or real world example is restoration hardware. I believe they did some analysis on does everyone know the store Restoration Hardware? It's like a store that's got like really cool, interesting, like really, it's like a product store, like for your home and stuff like that, really unique items. They did some analysis of like, they had 10 toasters to choose from in their store. And in other areas, they only had two toasters for a customer to choose from. And they noticed in the analysis that the store that only had 2 toasters on display, like they sold more toasters when they only had 2 toasters in the inventory versus like 5 or 10 toasters. And like you would think more choice is better for the consumer. They'll pick the more choice, they'll buy that one, but it turns out that's not the case. Less choice for that specific brand or that specific product was better. And the analysis was that Restoration Hardware knows how to pick the best product. They don't want more products for the customer to choose. The customer wants Restoration Hardware to pick the right product that they want. Same with another Restoration Hardware. They've been building restaurants in their stores, and they're choosing not to serve hard alcohol or beer or anything there. And why is that? It's because they didn't want men to come in there and hit on women. They wanted it to be a safe place for women. So women would go there in the restaurants and ultimately spend more money in the store as well. Like all that's data analysis. Like how do we and so collecting data, whether it's actually like computers, like collecting the data, or like going out there and gathering data like in person, stuff like that. Those are just some interesting data analysis type of stuff. And then actual business decisions are implemented on that data to make the company more money, increase revenues. That's why data science is such a big topic nowadays. and why they fetch such a large salary. So what tools do data scientists use? Python is huge. It just kind of stands out there. It just became kind of the more popular data science tool. We have R as well. R is like more specific to, I think, data analysis, as well as, I'm not 100% sure. It's more like, goes like deeper into the data analysis, where Python is just like a pretty broad toolkit that anybody can kind of pick up and use and analyze data. And then NumPy and Pandas are Python libraries that, what does Pandas do? Pandas is just like a high level, be able to sort through data, grab specific data that you want, and NumPy actually runs the analysis on that, like grabbing like the averages of a specific, kind of like what we're doing with, what were we doing? Like SQL, like grabbing all the people that are greater than a certain age, stuff like that. Yes.
Is there any of these libraries that tends to play a larger role in visualization of data?
I think there's no, like as far as like graphing data and type stuff.
Yeah,
or,
kind of like built-in, yeah, graphing or finding different ways of expressing a trend.
I don't know if there's like, I don't think these actually like
They don't
show like a data visualization. This is just a way to, these libraries have built-in methods to easily grab the information that you want. Like if you really want to just grab, like for Pandas, if you just want to grab people that are over age of 45 that live in this location, it'll be able to grab this data, that data really quickly with their built-in methods, and then NumPy can run the actual analysis on that data, like do the averages, the standard deviations, and stuff like that. Any questions so far? Remote questions? Who has experience with NumPy or Pandas in the remote? I think, was it Jesse or Amir? No? Cool. So let's go into the actual lecture for today. So open up here. There really isn't a whole lot like in the lecture that will tell you, but we need to pip install Pandas, pip install NumPy, and pip install Jupyter. So Jupyter essentially is another IDE to write code in. It's called like a literal term or literal IDE, in which when you get to it, you'll kind of see how it does. And it's very popular in the data science and graphing analysis because it enables you to get the information pretty quickly and show it like right there on the screen, right? By like pressing enter, it's going to run that code instead of having to like go into the terminal Python and do all that stuff.
Is that the one with the $, ampersand or something on the beginning and the end of the code snippet to see it to zero? That might be something.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
We're going to get into it right now.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to cd code platoon, cp lecture. I'm going to make a directory, delete data, cd into delete data, clear. I'm just going to clone this repo. Hit clone. I'm going to zoom in for your remote. See data science 1 ls. So we have this weird file called datascience1.pynb. This is the Jupyter notebook. So after we pip install, I'm just going to do this just to see. Already satisfied. Pip install. Already satisfied. Jupyter. Oh, cool. So I'm going to clear that. And then to open a Jupyter notebook, run Jupyter notebook space period. So Jupyter space notebook space period. It's going to actually open a window right here, and then it's going to, so it opens a web page. This is the Jupyter notebook. If you look up in that terminal of the files, where they, oh, where'd it go? Like right here, we have the data science and the README. Now it's right here. And to open the Jupyter notebook, it's this file. If you click on it, it's going to open another window. And here's your IDE. Now this is all pre-filled. This is this is the lecture. So if you guys can go through this, this is kind of what it looks like. So data science day one, talk about basic math, sample size, the number of subjects in a sample. We have a range. Oh, geez, what happened? Oh, here it goes. So this IDE can incorporate different types of code. So this is actually a markdown file. If you look right here, this is a markdown file. If I go down to here, this is just code, which is specifically it's Python. So this is just a markdown for today's lecture. You get range. Oh, I hate doing that. Range, the mode, the most frequently occurred items, the mean, the median, and then the standard deviation. These are the main ones we'll be using. So, want more examples? And just like when you're writing a file in VS Code, how we would do like import, this is exactly like what Python you'd be writing. So we'd have to import NumPy as NP. You can literally just do import NumPy. From Skype, import stats. This is another library that you might need to import, but this is just for this specific lecture. And when you want to, so I'm just gonna scroll all the way down to here. Just do a new line. I don't want to go into this right now, but I just want to kind of show you. So we've already imported everything. That doesn't mean, now we don't have to, I guess we don't have to import everything again every single time. Just think of this as like a new line in your IDE. This is just a new line in VS Code. You don't have to import. It's not like a new file. So let's bring up something. So I don't like all this stuff. Let's go into, we're going to do pandas first. I'm going to talk about pandas. So we've already imported pandas right here. And this is actually a pretty good one. So we imported pandas. We have a date, or a data dictionary with a year key. That's an array of years. Then a key of teams, bears, and then the number of wins, and the number of losses. And since we imported pandas as PD, we're setting a variable football equals PD.dataFrame. So this is actually going to create a visual thing of like what this data looks like. And we're passing in data, and we're printing. Hopefully this works. And in order to actually run the code, if you just press enter, it's not going to do anything. To run the code, you can either press shift and enter, but you know, I press shift and enter and we got, oh, anyway, I press shift, enter, and we have the year, team, wins, and losses. So we have the year, the team, the wins, and the losses. So the keyword, or the key, is the column name. And then essentially these, think of these are as like the primary key, the 6, 7, or 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just think of that as like primary key, but you're not going to actually be using that. And then the values as an array. 2010, 2010. The first index, or index at 0,
Yes.
index at 0 is bears, goes under team. Index of 0 is 11, goes to wins. Any questions so far? Just with this, just with like Jupyter and importing libraries.
Yeah, that's the purpose of this. Just to
Yeah.
see this is what you can do.
Yeah, so this is really popular because I can just quickly do some data and click Shift Enter and see it right away. It's running the code right now. So Pandas has this data frame that makes it readable.
Does it have anything that speaks across the SQL that you can incorporate with psychop-G to turn this table? Turn this into a table and see.
Yeah. So you'll have to grab the data from like the database and then clean it up. So you have that. So if I wanted to grab, so I've been pressing Shift and Enter, and it's grabbing the data. The better thing I would do is do Alt and Enter. So when I do Alt and Enter, it runs the code right here, and then also gives me a new line right away.
I have a question.
Yes.
What does it mean when it says in5 or in9?
That's just the line, I think it was. So there must have been 10, 11, 12, 17, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, or yeah, I think 12. I'm actually not 100% sure. I just assume it's like the line you're on, but I don't know if it's that relevant. I've never used that specific line before. So where are we at? So go off these notes. Just some syntax for pandas. I have football, and if I wanted just like the first three teams, like right here, if I wanted year 11, 12, and 13, I can print, so you have to print it, that football dot head, because I'm grabbing the head, and then I want the 3. I just want to see what happens. There we go. I'm grabbing the 3 top. This is just a built-in method in Pandas that allow us to grab from the top.
That's after football's been.
Yeah. So football's already been declared, set to Panda data frame, grabbing the 3. If I wanted to grab the last 3 and do football dot tail 3. Enter. I got the last 3. Layers of Panda data frames. So we can grab specific locations. So if we want to just grab the index 0, we can do football dot location 0, and it gives us all the information about the bears. Now, if we only want to grab columns, we just run football, and in an array, let's just delete the wins. What just happened? I just want the wins. Maybe this will work. I just can grab the wins. Now, if I wanted to grab multiple columns, I have to create an array with, what was that before? The team and the wins.
It's a nested array, right?
Yeah, so we have football. Then, so think of football as like a matrix, an array. And then we do a nested array. Go down. Now we can grab like SQL queries. We can grab all the wins that are greater than 10. It's the same thing. You can combine 2 of them. grabbing the year and the teams, and then you're also grabbing the wins greater than 10. So we have all these built-in methods. And then, I don't want to get into this part right now, but this is like combining pandas. So pandas allows you to grab the data from like the CSV file. Think of that, like it's grabbing the data, it's in like this matrix, this 2x2 with the columns and rows, and then you can like filter like the rows and grab whatever you want. And then NumPy will do some actual mathematic stuff on that. So I'm gonna go down here. It's NumPy. So we imported NumPy as NP. And I'm down here. If I want to print a range of 0 to 10, oh, what happened? NP is not defined. That not work? There we go. So kind of NumPy, I want to print a range. It's like an array of 0 to 10. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have all these like built-in methods with NumPy now. Let's see what else we got. If I wanted to print a range, print NumPy, a range from 0 to 20, and then every 2 takes in a third parameter. So I just wanted you to know, like NumPy, you're able to do a lot of stuff with. Let's see what we got.
Is this where you'd be using mean and
Yep.
So go to mode and things like that?
Yeah.
So is this NumPy or
I'm sorry?
is this NumPy or Jupyter?
This is all so this big thing, what we're writing in, this is Jupyter. This is a Jupyter notebook. So it's like an IDE similar to VS Code, but it's used specifically for data analysis. And when you open a Jupyter notebook, it's going to be running in the terminal.
Does it save the?
Yeah, I think it automatically saves everything. Let's see what this NumPy random.rand does. So yeah, generates an array of 5 values of a random number between 0 and 1. Now let's actually go up here. So we have pandas, we can grab the data, and then we can also use like NumPy to manipulate the data. So like right here, does this work? So right here, so it's grabbing the data frame, football, where the football.team equals bears, and then where there's wins, and you're going to apply the average. Apply is a built-in method. NumPy, you're going to apply the win. We can get the average number of wins by the bears by combining pandas and NumPy. That's the average number of wins, and I don't know what this is actually. Data type. Oh yeah. Okay. So we can do a bunch of queries in here. We do standard deviation. Run this. So that's that big one. That's this big import NumPy is NumPy. We created scores, created houses. Then we create a dictionary called test results, called housing info. Add it to an empty dictionary. Then we're adding keywords, sample size to each of it. We're grabbing the length of scores, and the length of houses. Then we're applying this max scores minus min scores. So this is a built-in method. Max scores, min scores. We're adding another keyword to this, and essentially this is the output. We have a sample size of 8. We have a range of 25. Then this is where we add do like NumPy methods on, grabbing the mean, the median, the mode, the scores, the standard deviation, and it's actually just printing a string version of the results. What questions? So NumPy and Pandas, they're just built-in libraries that you're allowed to, that allows you to manipulate, grab data, grab stuff from.
So this is like a back-end tool set that helps us improve user experience, helps us.
It's just for manipulating, grabbing data, and then analyzing the data to eventually, like in the real world, to make business decisions to generate value. But this stuff is really, I love analysis and data, like specifically this stuff. Like, oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, so NumPy has more than just, doesn't end with standard deviation.
Yeah.
It'll go, okay.
It has more than just like this stuff.
How
what you're
far
asking?
does it go? Can you actually get
There's a lot,
the
like-
reliability of your data? Or can you test your reliability of your data? You have to step outside of that. Because it seems like this is definitely used for research.
Yeah.
Whatever your data is, and then
When-
whenever you're testing
When you say like the reliability of your data.
reliability of the test data.
Oh, so at that point,
'Cause it's
before
your
it,
test data.
right. So before it gets to this point, you're supposed to clean your data.
Yeah.
So hopefully at that point, all your data should be valid. But I mean, there's a bunch of built-in methods, like random, like I showed you down here. We have that random stuff, but you won't be really using that much of like this stuff, these built-in methods. You'll be primarily doing with mode, median, mean, and there are other ones that you might need. But let's jump into the challenge for one of the data science challenge, just to kind of get you like started.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Yes.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it seemed like it was probably built in, where you can then usually test your data and see if
I would
it's.
assume that it would be.
Yeah,
based on
R
what
value.
we-
R value? What is the R
It's
value?
a statistical number that over your set of data says how reliable is this
Oh.
So when you're doing research, you can sit there and test your R value to actually see if your data is actually, if you need to toss it out or get more. If you have to get more, or your data is actually something.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Nice.
So that's
I actually don't know if it does that.
that's just what.
When you see like statistics,
You used to have to do it a lot.
statistics, it'll tell you if this is what you have.
I think I remember. Okay.
Which is something you need to pay attention to, because sometimes they're like, oh yeah, we found this data, or we found this.
And
And then you look at the R
I
value.
like
Yeah, you look at the R value, you're like, yeah, that's
I think it's what it's got to be point.
well, fine.
0.05, yeah, at least 0.05.
So-
0.0.
So the
One is better.
Yeah.
So the question was, does NumPy give you a method or a built-in function that enables you to check the R value or the reliability of your data set? And that is, I don't know that answer. So in order to quit in order to quit this notebook, you just come into here and you essentially just kind of like control Q or whatever it is. And then it's going to ask you to shut down this notebook server. And you say yes, no, no answer, 5 seconds remaining. And you click yes. Oh, sorry. What happened? No answer for 5 seconds.
Justin, it's like
It's a
your
control Q. Whoa.
No, that was some dumb error. I figured it out. It was just some dumb error.
If I exit out of here, what's going to happen? Oh, I just exited out. What happened? Oh, crap. I'm going to actually exit.
Yeah, I was thinking.
So I'm going to try to get back real quick to where I was. CPU lectures. To delete. data ls cd data science. And then I'm going to Jupyter notebook. That one. There it goes. Is my muscle memory gone? How to quit Jupyter notebook.
It's that out.
Did it?
So if you shut down with Control C. Yeah, you Control C to stop the server and shut down.
Thank you. Control C. Thank you. So let's go into today's lecture. So we have this challenge, Titanic. And we have today's challenge, we're going to be working with the entire Titanic data set that includes all the passengers, whether they survived, whether they didn't, what class they were coming from, first, second, or third class, the names, how much they paid for their fare. Let's look at this. So we got a CSV file now. Here's this big, long CSV file. Get out of here. Science.
That's not a lot of people.
What do we got?
Hey, really tough.
So the whole point of this, we're gonna have to clean the data. Let's go back to, where'd it go? Close it. Like the data science process, we have to manage and clean the data. So we're gonna have to read. So Pandas has this nice built-in method that allows us to read from the CSV. We're gonna have to clean the data by separating the name into two columns, first name, title. You'll notice some of the name. You can probably save this to another CSV or like update the CSV with the clean data. Like we're gonna have to go through all these queries. These aren't gonna be SQL queries. These are gonna be utilizing Pandas, NumPy to grab this data. So I'm gonna clone this. So I'm here, data science. I'm gonna come up out of here. Got data science 1. I'm gonna git clone the Titanic data science. ls cd into Titanic. So now I have this Titanic 1 py file. Let's open this. This is where we're gonna read the data, or read in the file, clean the data. This is where we're gonna actually grab the data from the CSV and clean it. And here is where our queries are gonna go. So we already imported NumPy as NumPy, imported Pandas as Panda. You don't have to, I would try to get used to Jupyter Notebook, but you can do everything that we just did in Jupyter Notebook in here as well. So let's do something. Let's, first, I'm actually gonna open a Jupyter Notebook. Jupyter Notebook, got one. So I'm in the Titanic file with where these files are. I'm opening the Jupyter Notebook. So here are my files.
I think the nice thing about Jupyter Notebook though is that it actually allows you to have the visualization and everything organized within separately, whereas for in one document, as opposed to if we're doing it directly in VS Code, then if we were taking this and presenting it as a document to somebody else, we have to feed it to some other program and unify our code, add our supporting textual descriptions and graphics after the fact.
Let me refresh this. So I just clicked new Python 3. Now here's that new Python. So think of this as a brand new text editor. I'm going to import NumPy. And then I'm going to look at this train, pandas.csv, read CSV. So pandas, I'm going to do data frame because that's actually, I think I might have to import, I don't actually have to import the CSV. Let's see if this works. Let's do data. And then I'm going to print the data.
Work.
Oh no.
Training is not the fun.
Do I have to import the train?
Say no.
Why? Train.csv.
It's supposed to work as long as it's in the same direction.
I think so. I'm going to open up my working code. Platoon. Jupyter.
Does it need to be in quotes inside the, probably need to be in quotes inside the parentheses?
Oh, yep. You got
It's
it.
actually got to be quotes inside of there.
Thank you for.
Yeah, it says it's got to be a string.
So let's run that. Why didn't it work? Let's try that one more time, or 10 more times. There we go. So how it visually represents the data. We have a passenger ID, survived class, passenger class, and we have a break. And then we have the name, the sex, the age, and I don't know what that actually is. I have to look at the data. But anyway, then we have all this data. We have the fare, cabin, where the location of where they embarked from. And there's this little these dots essentially just shows like the first 5 and then like the last 5. So if I wanted to let's look at the first. If I wanted to grab all the rows, no, let's go. If I want to get all the rows of the individuals who survived, or display all the values of survived and sex. So I've got survived, and then I have sex.
SIB and SB is the siblings on board.
Oh, siblings? Sweet. So if I wanted to grab just the survived and sex columns, it would be, I'm grabbing the data, which is the data frame. I want to do, let's just grab the name right now. I got to print this. I'm pressing Alt and return. There we go. And then we're grabbing like all the names. If I wanted to grab the people who survived, or survived is literally just like a 0 and 1, right? 0 and 1. If they survived, it's a 1. They didn't, it's a 0.
How do you look at the data between from 0, where it has those dots? Is that
Right here.
Data in between that's separated, that's just contained.
Yeah, you can't actually like visually see that. Like if you wanted to, I think you'd have to run it in like the terminal or something. That just shows like, hey, you've got all the data.
We got it all.
So if I wanted the survived and the sex, I'd have to do a nested array by comma sex. And I'm doing alt return or alt enter. So I've got all the survived and all the sex. Any questions? And if I wanted to grab, these are all actual queries. Location. Get all the rows where sex is female. Get all the rows, grabbing the data frame, grabbing the row of sex where it equals female, and grabbing the location of that. Everything good? Uh-oh, am I missing a, oh, data, sorry. There we go.
So you can do an and operator
Mm-hmm.
there also inside brackets. And
Yep.
like, and data at female equals or survived. Or something like that.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of stuff. Let's look at one of the other queries. Let's do the mean of survived where the sex is male. All right. So I'm going to grab the data. I'm going to grab the location of the data. And I need to grab the locator where the sex equals male. So data dot sex so equals male. Is male the right? Is it capital? Well, these are all female, so I assume male.
Male is lowercase, or would it be set?
Survived.
And data survived so equals
I'm guessing one.
One.
5, 0 for didn't make it.
is that all of them?
I think so. It's just like as a Boolean.
I'm missing something here.
Well, just
Oh, I think this is supposed to go into here. Oh, whoops. Enter. Doesn't work. Come on, let's see what happened. Try result. Operation. Function bitwise. This is where Google. Yeah, these errors suck.
is one extreme.
So the actual, I believe we need parentheses. Or hold on, data location.
You're trying to compare integer.
Does that work? Nope.
So if you type error saying you can't compare a Boolean with an integer, so
Okay.
it doesn't do automatic type conversion.
Let's just grab the answer.
So
I mean-
no, that's cool.
So yeah, you can't compare like Booleans. So how we do this, compare, if you want like what I do, you have to Google this obviously. But so we have we're using NumPy, we're grabbing the mean, and grabbing the data frame or the data, where in parentheses right here, data, the column sex equals male, and data survived is in array 1. So I created an array that represents all the survived types of values. 0, 1, could be essentially anything. So it's going to be in this array. And then I'm grabbing the mean data. And it's actually grabbing the mean of all the columns.
Oh.
And then once you grab it, you can like copy and paste it into here. You can actually like run all this stuff. So I can grab, see what this looks like. So right now I'm in Titanic Python file. I'm going to Control-C out of the, yep, I killed the Jupyter Notebook. And if I go back to the Jupyter Notebook, that's still, it'll usually kill it. Like it'll usually be, there, I think, is that it? Yeah. I'll say like the connection has failed. So I don't need that anymore. So I'm back here in Python. Let's just see what this looks like in Python versus the Jupyter Notebook. Python, and see how it, like ls, see how it created this Jupyter Notebook when I like instantiated, like created a new notebook. It actually created a file for it. So now I can like Jupyter Notebook. Before I run that Python file, I'm going to open up the Jupyter Notebook. Jupyter Notebook.space period. That file is going to be here, and if I click on it, it should have all my data from previously. Yeah, it still has everything.
Oh, so you can see everything.
Like it has everything. Yeah, that's why it's kind of nice. I don't know. I've never tried to do that. I just move on. Just get, yeah, just
file if you want.
make a new line. So Control-C, click yes, Y for yes. So now I'm back in my Python file. Just if you don't want to use the Jupyter Notebook, but I recommend trying it out. It's really cool. I'm going to run this file, Python Titanic.py. Oh, so just printed like an array and everything. Yeah. Now if I wanted to print, let's see if this works. I'm not going to print a column. Oh, I guess that's why I use NumPy, so you can grab the data right away. Anyway. But that's all you really have to do. So yeah, work in Jupyter Notebook. Yes?
So the exact code you write in the picture and Python code.
Yes. I mean, this is all, it's just like an ID, just like a VS Code.
So just copy paste.
Yep. So once you import, read the file, just copy and paste that into Python. And then when you run a query on your data here, once you get like the right query, just copy and paste it into here.
And this code automatically knows where to go.
This code automatically knows.
So I just copy and paste it here. Normally we have to import CSV into Python. You have to do it.
I don't think, no. Yeah, so, because we're not actually utilizing a CSV reader. We're using pandas to read the CSV. And it's actually creating a data frame. This is actually a data frame. It's like a data specific to pandas.
Does it have a
What week is this? I can't find it in today's folder.
If you go to today's folder, there'll be, so in order to where to find this,
Oh, I see.
we're on week 5. We have data science. It gives you a link to the data science day 1. We're right here. Pip install these, and then when you can git clone this, and then just run through this Jupyter Notebook, and then that's where the actual lecture, that markdown file will be in Jupyter Notebook. So if we go down here, CD, ls, CD lectures, CD delete. So we have this data science day 1. If you want to go over, so we have this data science Jupyter Notebook, open. It's going to open these files right here in Jupyter Notebook, and just clicking on this, which is a Jupyter Notebook, it's going to have all this markdown for you to review if you want to go back to it, kind of see. And we also, there's like different, you can apply, like how I was doing numpy or np.mean, and then within here running it, you can also do it like this, .apply mean method.
There was this 7 years ago.
Yeah. Questions? So for today, or this weekend, get used to Jupyter Notebook, but also today, I think there's a couple, like there's some Bootstrap. If you haven't gotten experience with Bootstrap, you can mess with that for a little bit. And then there is HTTP Server 3. I put in the Slack channel the review video for HTTP Server 2. It's 2 videos. The second one's only the first part of it covers like that. I think it's just like the routes of HTTP Server 2. Any questions?